Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all the distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, fellow academicians, research scholars, and participants attending this 15-day online international faculty development program on research, publication, and excellence. It is a privilege for me to stand before you virtually as we enter the crucial final stretch of this enriching journey. My name is Dr. Shivangi Priya, and I'm honored to be your moderator for today's session. Just a small introduction of mine. I'm a dedicated and result-oriented academician with over more than 5 years of experience as an assistant professor in human resource management, marketing, general management, etc. My teaching philosophy is quite simple: to be deeply rooted in bridging theoretical concept with their practical application, ensuring that my students develop critical thinking skills and real-world problem-solving abilities. I'm truly excited to facilitate today's discussion and which promises to be both timely and transformative. And I would like to thank Dr. Firdaus for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact with you all. So now let me allow to introduce our esteemed speaker for today. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome Dr. Erum Sheikh. Ma'am, have you joined with us?
Yes, I'm here. Am I
Great,
audible?
great. Yes, you're audible. A very good evening to you. And we welcome you for this FTP. A small brief introduction about ma'am. Dr. Sheikh is an accomplished academic researcher and academic leader specializing in finance and corporate social responsibility. She holds a PhD from University of Sindh. Currently, she serves as an assistant professor and the head of Department of Business Administration at Shaheed Benazir Bhutto University. Her leadership extends far beyond teaching. She has previously held pivotal roles including director of ORIC, director of the research cell, and the manager of the Business Incubation Center, demonstrating her unwavering commitment to institutional development and research excellence. Her academic prowess is evident in her prolific output. She has authored more than 40 scholarly publications, edited 10 books, and serves on the editorial board of prestigious international publishers, which include Springer, Emerald, IGI Global, and Taylor and Francis. Her research interest spans in finance, CSR, fintech, sustainability, and entrepreneurship. These are not just academic, but she has a very deep societal implication as well. So, about today's session, Dr. Sheikh will be delving into a topic that is increasingly relevant in our digitally driven world, exploring the role of social media platforms in driving innovation opportunities. So, in an era where academic publishing is rapidly evolving, we often overlook the power of digital ecosystem. Social media is no longer just for networking, it is a dynamic tool for identifying research gaps, building collaborative networks, and fostering interdisciplinary innovation. Dr. Sheikh will guide us through how we as researchers can leverage these platforms not just for the visibility, but as a catalyst for groundbreaking research and publication success. Without further ado, let us welcome Dr. Erum Sheikh. Ma'am, you're most welcome here, and over to you. But before you start, I have a request, as Dr. Firdaus said, for all the participants. I request all of you to keep your microphones muted and use the chat box for your questions. We'll open the floor for an interactive question and answer session with ma'am once the presentation is over. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Shivangi Priya. So, Assalamu alaikum to all of you, and a very good evening to everyone. My introduction is already told by Dr. Shivangi. But first of all, I want to thank Dr. Firdaus Ahmed Malik, who invited me for this innovative platform for the session in the Jammu and Kashmir International Faculty Development Program. I'm here to talk about the topic which you already discussed, but this is actually the case study. This was our paper which was published in 2025. Basically, my topic is to tell how you can write a good paper, good quality paper, and how you can publish that paper in a very reputable journals, and what you have to do and what you have to avoid the things before writing or starting any kind of a paper, and before submitting to it in any international journal. So that will aligned with my already published paper, which you talk about, that there is a social media platform which link towards this session. So I have already shared my slides. Are these visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Yes, so my today's topic is to how to prepare a research paper and publish it in a reputable journal. And we used a case study about exploring the role of social media platform in driving innovation opportunities, mediated effect of customer engagement behavior in Pakistani micro, small, medium enterprises, and it was published in Journal of Global Entrepreneurship Research. Its impact factor is 2.5, and it's a Springer journal. So first of all, why everybody thinks that whenever you start or writing any kind of a paper, you have to think about the journal. That means the journal should have some kind of a reputation in the market. It should have impact factor. It should be Scoopust index, or it has something good indexing. So that's why it's very important to know about the journal and its reputation. So before starting anything, I just wanted to tell you something about how you identify that this journal is reputable and why it is matters so. Because in the previous sessions, you already know that how to write paper, which I will also discuss in my session as well. But this thing is also very important, that why journals have huge impact while you are writing any kind of a paper. So first of all, we talk about the credibility of the journals, means how much this journal is credible and how its review certifies that your claim withstands expert scrutiny before the world sees them. So it's very important that the journal has good credibility. After that, how much its impact. A journal articles reaches global scholars, practitioners, and policymakers. Your thesis draw never will. Means when you are writing any kind of a thesis that has not approached towards worldwide, it's only in the hand of your supervisor, your university. But journal, when you are writing any kind of a paper and submitting in a reputable journal, so it is spread in all or, around the world. Anybody can reach out towards your paper. So the impact of the journal is very important, means how it reaches to the customers, okay, and readers. The third is the career currency, means every scholar wants to write paper, and there are so many things in their mind that why they are writing a paper. First of all, many people says that we want to write a paper because am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you
Yes.
are audible. Please go ahead.
Okay, okay. Yes, somebody think that I'm writing paper because I want reputation in the university, in my institute. But the main and important thing which nobody tells us or nobody shows us, that they need the promotion when they write a paper, good paper. They will get the funding when the paper is good, and they will get a huge respect and recognition in every published paper. So that is also matters when you publish in a very reputable journals, okay. And the fourth one is the knowledge advancement. Every accepted papers like our paper had a good reputable journal, that is a Springer journal. So when you are targeting a good journal, so it has a knowledge advancement as well, because that scholars and journals are contributing towards the knowledge and society. So these four things are very important when you are targeting or wanted to publish in any kind of a journal. So its reputation is very important. After that, I wanted to talk about the research life cycle. It's a big picture, means you can see that there are the 8 steps, and which most of the people are very familiar about it. Okay, but again, I will go through very quickly about it. First of all, when you are starting any kind of a paper, you have a road map in your mind that what you have to do. Okay, means whenever you start writing your paper, you have a concept that my field is finance, for example. Miss Shivangi field is HRM, so they have to start a paper with the HRM. Now there are so many things which already scholars and in the world are done, but now you have your responsibility is to identify the gap, means what the gap is left by the other scholars, which you can fill that gap by starting your paper. So first of all, there is the need to identify the gap, means what will be your contribution in any kind of a paper. So first of all, you need to identify the gap, and after that gap you have to start reading, approaching, downloading the papers related to that topic, title, or we can say the gap. So you are starting reviewing the literature. Okay, that means what is done related to this topic in the world and what other scholars did in the past. So you have to read in the review literature. Okay, and after that you have to think about the hypothesis development and design of the methodology. I think you already have a concept of hypothesis, means I already discussed that when you start something, something to write, you start thinking that concept in your mind. So basically what concept in your mind is the argument, and now you have to prove that argument. So for proving that argument, you have to write the hypothesis, that whether this hypothesis has the significance or not. So you have to develop the hypothesis, and how these hypotheses can be identified and proved with the help of research methodology. And so this thing you have to think before starting in a paper, and collecting and reading different kind of papers which are already related to your title. And after each and everything is decided, you have to collect the data related to your title, related to your hypothesis. And after that, you have to analyze the data. If you are going through for a quantitative or qualitative, it's a huge topic separately. So you have to analyze the data accordingly. And these things are already discussed in your mind, you have already decided. Then you have to write the manuscript, means after these roadmap you have to start writing your paper. When your paper is done, you have to submit, and you have to wait for the review of the paper, whether it's desk reject or whether it's accepted, what the reviewers will give you suggestions, and then you have to improve your paper according to the reviewer's suggestions, and then the last stage is your paper will be published. So all these steps every scholar has to cross. And likewise, I already said that our paper is published in the Springer Journal. So we all go through with all these steps. Okay. So in every research paper, there are 3 phases, which I already discussed. That one is the conceptual, which you think in your mind that what you have to do, what you are going to write, and how you will write. And the second phase is the empirical, means you have to think about the design, sampling, instrument, data collection, statistical analysis, that how the paper will have shape according to the methodological rigorous things. Now the third phase is the dissemination, means your manuscript is ready, you are starting writing. After the finishing of your paper write-up, you will start the process of selection of a journal. Then you will submit your paper, you will wait for the peer reviewer, revisions you will get, and you will improve your paper. And after that, you will have the publication. And yeah, you will get promoted if your paper is published in a very good, reputable journal. So yes, this was my paper exploring the role of social media platform in driving innovation opportunities, mediating effect of the customer engagement behavior in Pakistani micro, small, medium enterprises. And whatever I discussed in the previous slides are, highlighted here, means how anybody can, write a good research paper. So there was a clear testable research questions. Okay, I have seen that many scholars mistakenly did here means they write a very macro level objective, very huge diversified objective. They don't know that they have to select a very specific gap, because whenever you are very specific, you are very clear about what you have to do. But when you are select a broad concept, you will be troubled. Okay, you will not get the desired results. So first of all, you have to be very clear that what your objectives are, and related to those objectives, you have to write your research questions, that what you want to identify and what will be your contribution. Okay, and that questions leads towards your hypothesis, and the number of these objectives questions and hypothesis must be same. Means if you are going to test three hypotheses, so there must be three research questions, there must be three research objectives. Okay, and these will should be very specific and clear. The second is the transparent methodology and the limitations. Means you are very clear that what you have to do, quantitative, qualitative, mixed methodology, means everything should be clear. The third is the proper mediation hypothesis logic. If you are going for the mediator factor or moderator factor, so you should be very clear about it as well. If you are going towards a very direct or indirect relationship of the hypothesis, you can do it. Okay. So there is the honest reporting and non-significant path as well, which was in our result as well. The hypothesis 4 was not significant. We identified and we think that the results will be significant, but the results were not significant in our study. So we were very clear and honest that this hypothesis is not significant. So many scholars and students asked from me that every good paper has a all hypothesis significant. So I always guide my students that it's not like that. If your results are not aligned with your argument, it's okay. You that will be your actually the future recommendation for the other authors, that my result it's not significant. Now it's up to you. When you hypothesized it in any other region or any other area, maybe it will be significant. So you have to be very honest about the reporting of your hypothesis. So there must be the practical and theoretical implications which should be stated separately in your paper. There will be full correctly formatted reference list as per the requirement of the journal. Okay, so start with a real defensible problem. Many things which you have to do and what you have to avoid. So there must be the ground the problem in real data. Means you must know that what data you have and how much there is the impurities. Means if you are distributing questionnaire, you distributed for example 60 questionnaires and you got the 40 results back, 20 was empty. It's okay, no problem. You have to try again with any other platform, but you have to be very clear. In our paper, there were very small number of the SMEs. We were unable to approach many of them, so we were very clear that we have a limited number, but the results are real. We have not faked data, we have not assumed and write by ourselves. So it's very simple thing that you have to be very honest that what you have collected and how you will represent, so that is the real picture of any, analysis and the paper. So show what is already known, then name precisely what is missing. State the gap as an answerable research questions. You have to tell very clearly that this is your gap and these are your research questions, which I already discussed. Now, what things you have to avoid? Assume a gap exists without citing prior studies. Many students they assume that this is the gap, or maybe they cite the paper which is very old, like they got the gap which is identified in 2015 paper. So how you are sure that in 10 years nobody did the research on that particular area? So you have to select the gap which is in recent papers. You identify that gap in your recent papers. So it's very important to know that the gap is recently identified. Okay. Second is write a vague problem. In our paper, we discuss about the social media. That is very important. With no testable questions means it's already known that social media is important, but how you will contribute and what research gap you have identified, that is the thing you technically you have to represent. Okay, so these are the things that you have to keep in your mind when you are writing any kind of a paper, and these things matters when you are targeting any good journal. So in our paper, there is a structure of the review to argue towards your model. Number one, that was the social media. Established social media as a two-way communication tool, not a one-way broadcast channel. Second is the innovation opportunities, which frames innovation in micro, small, medium enterprises, a customer's framing, citing Starbucks and P&G co-creation examples. These are two examples of the SMEs. And the third is the when you are approaching towards the customers, that how customers engagement behavior reflected to the social media and in the mediator factor of the innovation opportunities. So the reviewer technique worth complying each of these subsections and by feeding directly into the hypothesis. There is a mediator. So we had 4 hypotheses. The review isn't it a list of citations. It is a funnel of logic leading to the conceptual model. This argument and not summary structure is exactly what reviewers look for. So from argument to testable statements, of course, when you say that this has a positive or negative impact, so you have to be clear about the hypothesis which you want to test. So we also did, and we did the 4 hypotheses. As you can see that the 3 hypotheses were supported in our study and the 4th was not supported. Now, turning hypothesis into a visual model, it's very important when you are writing any paper, there should be a conceptual model and there should be a visual model which shows the significance and non-significance results in the model as well. So yes, when you are designing into your questions means you are, thinking about the methodology which you have to select for your hypothesis. So these are the things which you have to do and what you have to avoid. In our paper, we choose the design as a cross-sectional quantitative exploratory design, justified explicitly limited research on this mediating role in Pakistani micro, small, medium enterprises. We select the ELS SEM approach for small sample and productive mediation model. There were a 2-stage evaluation measurement model than a structure model. And when you are starting or writing or selecting any kind of a methodology, you have to do what? State design, why it fits to your question openly. Do not select any kind of a methodology if you think it has a popularity in the society. Means most of the scholars do, and they go for the quantitative research, methodology. They think that it has a good acceptance in the journals, and avoid the qualitative paper. Or some start writing with the qualitative approach, some do the mixed methodology. It should not be by your choice. You have to think about that what your paper will justify related to your hypothesis. As you know that when you are, writing hypothesis means you have to go for the quantitative approach. But when you are, only wanted to answer about the questions, then you have to go for the qualitative research approach. So that's why you have to see that what your gap is, what your questions are, and related to that, you have to select the methodology. Justify the small number methods. We have already, I said, we have a limited number of the SMEs. So we justified that why this has a limited number and how we can identify the results and why we select this technology, methodology. Pre-register your two-stage or multi-stage analysis plan. You have to think about before starting any methodology as well. What you have to avoid: pick a method because it's familiar, not because it's fit. Hide sample size or design limitation from the readers, which I already discussed. This was the data. I quickly sum up this because this is related to my results, that 50% there were the questionnaires sent, 43 were unable responses, total 86% response rate, and 45 SMEs were targeted. Means the total population of the SMEs were 45 and the sample was given 50. So this was the result of our sample data. Okay, so choosing and justifying your analysis technique, what you have selected and how you can justify your techniques, that why you have selected this one. Works reliably with the small sample. Our sample was very, limited. So that's why it aligned with the sample size, means it can easily handle the small sample size of the study. Handle complex mediation pathways, no strict multivariate normality assumptions needed, enable a formal two-stage assessment measurement model, structural model. Hands-on checklist for any quantitative study, software and version named, resampling procedure stated, reliability, validity test, R square reported for every endogenous construct. Every hypothesis test reports beta, T value, and P value. Prove your instrument before you trust it, means you have to prove that what you have said, means each and everything should be very clear in your tables, your analysis, that what you have done. So to cite the exact threshold you use, that is 0.70 loadings, and do report what you removed and why. If I said that there were missing values, so if you removed those values, you have to justify why you removed those values. And don't silently drop items without disclosure. Don't report only loadings and skip Chromba alpha or average values. So prove your construct are actually different things. As I already discussed, that if your hypothesis is not, significant, then you have to, support that thing as well. That this study shows there is a significant result, but in our results, it is not significant. So you have to discuss this thing very clearly. Okay, turning numbers into a findings story. You have to, show the pathways of the coefficients, that this hypothesis has a significant and direct relationship with the other hypothesis. And as you can see in the table, that one hypothesis which has also direct relationship, but in our study, it was not significant. It was rejected. So you have to show in your, diagrams as well, in table form as well, that what your study states. So headline findings, full mediation. Again, this is a path which shows the test which we applied, that is T value, P value, and the results, that which hypothesis has the, support and significant, their values, and those who do not support it in our study. So because of the direct path, H4 is non-significant, but the indirect path, H3, is a significant. Social mediator does not drive innovation on its own. It works entirely through customer engagement. This single contrast, significant indirect plus non-significant direct, is a wallpaper contribution in one line, and it shows why reporting a failed hypothesis H4 honestly can be the most valuable finding in the paper. So this was our result of the paper, and which shows that our results were very true, honestly collected, and show the real results in the paper. So it's very important that what you are showing, how you are showing, how you are supported with your literature. So these things are very small, which many scholars neglected, but very important to write and highlight in your paper to target any good journal. So what things you don't have to repeat, results, that is restate the core story. I have read many, papers of my students and scholars that they are, arguing or repeating the same thing again and again, which weaken your, study or write up. You have to be collected with many, support of the literature, that what they have said. Okay, but you do not need to repeat your story again and again in each section of the paper. Okay. And the second is separate theory from your practice. There should be the two different headings of the theoretical, implications and the practical implications in the conclusion section. And the support of the theory in any paper is very important, that what practically your paper support, and how practically your hypothesis support, and how your paper is supported by any theory. Third is on your limitations. There must be the limitation of your paper, which I already discussed, that one hypothesis was not supported in our study. So that will be the limitation of our study, and it can be the future direction for the other scholars. So they can pick up that gap and start writing the paper on that thing, which were limitation of our paper and which were not significant. So now I will talk about all these sections mapped with our case study. There were the title, abstract, introduction, method, results, discussion, and conclusion. In the title, there should be a very specific key rich names, variables, and contacts, which actually you are doing in your research. So the title highlights those keywords as well. As you can see that we select the title as exploring the role of social media mediated effect of customer engagement in Pakistani small medium enterprises, and the problem identified in the abstract, problem, method, key result, implications. There were the 150 to 250 words, states the mediation finding and its practical meaning in 5 sentences. In the introduction, there should be written a gap, research questions, roadmap of the paper, ends with the explicit rest of this paper is structured as follows. That is the roadmap for full paper. Now in the methods, follow a strict number 2-stage reporting logic, measurement model, structural model, hypothesis table, and discussion. In the conclusion sections, synthesize, do not introduce new data, means you have to sum up all your case study or the your paper. Reframes the mediation finding at a broader policy relevant level. So the common manuscript mistakes to avoid, what you have to do and what you have to avoid. Number one, write a clear active wise, results indicate, not it is indicated that. Report exact statistics, beta, T, P values, all things every time not significant results were found. Keep tables, figures, self-explanatory with full captions and notes. Use consistent construct abbreviations throughout. Means there should be the full form written in the paper as well. To not only write the short forms of your keywords. Proofread the consistent citation style before submission. What are the requirements of the paper? You have to follow and write your paper accordingly. What you have to avoid: overclaim causality from a cross-sectional correlational design. Bury the key findings, full mediation deep in a paragraph. Mixed referencing style means one references are related to APA and others are related to mediation, sorry, numbered or anything else within one manuscript. Submit without checking the target journal's word format limits. Copy paste phrases from other papers, always paraphrase and cite. Choosing the right home for your paper. Now your paper is done. As per all the instructions, now you have to select the home where your paper will be fitted. So you have to see the scope of your paper and scope of the journal. If they both are fitted with each other, you have to put your paper in that journal. So does the paper publish entrepreneurship, which is related to my paper. So that's why it was very related to the Journal of Global Entrepreneurship Research. So that's why we target that journal. So second thing, you have to see the indexing and reputation of the paper. Is the paper is Scopus Index, ISI Index, Web of Science Index, where it will be published. So you have to see this thing as well. Third is the peer review rigor, genuine double-blind reviewer with realistic timelines, check editorial board credentials as well. Number 4 is the metrics and the speed, impact factor, site score, typical review to decision time, and article processing charges. You have to see. Acha, our paper, this journal is, a paid journal. So they have APC, but we target without APC, means they have the options of a diamond, gold, silver. So which you will select? Will you select the free of cost, or you will select a APC? So that's, there are so many options as well, so you can select accordingly. Avoiding predatory journals and submission pitfalls. There are so many red flags. There are so many fake journals who pop up in your, screen or highlighted in your screen that you can invite. They invite the scholars to submit their papers, and many scholars see they have a very short time frame, or they, accept your paper very quickly, and you are rushed towards submitting your paper in that kind of a journal. But before submitting your paper, you have to see, is the journal is predatory, or they have a, indexing. So you have to see these things before checklist before submitting in any kind of a paper and to the journal, and you have to avoid these things which is written in the slides. Now, how peer review actually unfolds. Number 1 is submission and the editorial screen. Means your paper is now done. You have selected the journal. You have submitted your paper. Now, what you have to do, which are written in these steps. Means first, the editorial board will screen your submission. Means they will see that it is aligned with the guidelines of the journal or not, they are fitted with the journal requirements or not. So they will start screening your paper. After that, if your screening is done, they will assign the reviewers this assignment. And the third is the blind peer review will start. Means they will send to your paper towards the reviewers, and they will give feedback to your paper, and the editorial decision will come that your paper is they have the major revisions, minor revisions, or such kind of revisions you have to do with this time period, and so on. You have to revise and resubmit the paper if you get the good revisions. So it's also very blessing that when your screening is done, you pass the screening and your paper go through the reviewers. They actually give the true feedback. Do not panic that you got so many reviews. You start working on that, and it will definitely improve your paper. So revise all the according to the suggestions and resubmit. When the paper is accepted, it will be published as ours. It was received by the journal in 19 June 2024, accepted in 13 September 2025, and published in 6 October. You can see that the time frame is 1.5 years. So it is a huge time period if you are going to submit your paper in a reputable journal. So it will take time and you must have the patience. Okay, now many people ask from me that any paper go through for so long, then what you have to do, you have to keep checking that where your paper is right now, or what you have to do. So I always suggest my students and other scholars, my fellows, that you do not need to wait. You have to start the new paper, and do not wait about the decision of your previous paper, because it will create a panic situation for you. So you have to start and you have to engage yourself in the new assignment, and you go to start new paper, so that you will engage your mind in the other things as well. So it will be a continuous process. One will be accepted and your second paper is a ready product to submit in any other journal. So this is how I actually do. Whenever I submitted one paper, I forget about it till I get the revisions and I start working on the next paper. So there are some research ethics, the non-negotiable. There is the authorship, competing interest, data integrity and availability, plagiarism, and attribution. I think that everybody knows about it. Means how many, what section was written by which author. There shouldn't be any kind of a competing interest. There shouldn't be any plagiarism, AI tools used to write your paper. There is the integrity, means the data is readily available whenever the publisher asks. So yes, responding towards the reviewers, turning your critic into acceptance. This is very interesting, means how you respond to your reviewers, suggestions. So what you have to do and what you have to avoid. Respond point by point in a numbered response letter. Many people, avoid, means they respond 3 to 4 suggestions combinedly. Do not do like that. Respond each and every, reviewers points separately. Thank reviewers even for critical comments as well. Show exactly where each change was made. Page, line, means where they have suggested and where you have incorporated the suggestions. If you disagree, explain your reasoning respectably with the evidence. Treat a stated limitation, that is small sample, as opportunity to aid. Don't ignore or disseminate comment without addressing a critic personal or respond defensively. Make silent undocumented change to manuscript. Miss the resubmission deadline set by the editor. Argue with the editor's final decision publicly. Now, from publication to influence, open access or DOI, share beyond the paywall, practical transaction, track or build on citation. You have to see these publication to influence. What you have to do's and don'ts when you are putting all these together, means all the sections which I have explained, means what you have to always do and what you have to avoid. Ground your study in a clear cited research gap. Justify every methodological choice with citations. Report exact statistics and disclose limitations honestly. Match manuscript structure and tone to your target journal. Respond to reviewers respectably and completely. Declare authorship, competing interest, and data access. Build collaboration and share your published work widely. You have to avoid the things, never you have to do such things. Submit without reading the journal's author guidelines. Overstate casual claims from correlational or cross-sectional data. Hide non-significant results or inconvenient findings. Plagiarize, self-plagiarize, or fabricated manipulated data. Target predatory or unverified journal for a quick publication. Ignore reviewers' comments or miss revisions deadline. Treat publishing as a solo one-time event rather than a career practice. Now I will talk about the publishing research papers, means how the paper will be published. When the paper writing is finished and the authors consider the paper to be worth publishing, the next step is to submit it for publication, that is in a conference, a journal, or a book editor. The selective focus here is on journal articles and conference papers. Process of publishing a journal: identify a target journal, following the journal's instructions, submitting the paper, understanding the decision process, revising a paper, answering queries, and reviewing proofs. So there are so many hurdles you have to pass through when you are going to submit any paper till it's accepted. First of all, you have to identify a target journal. After preparing a manuscript, your next step is to choose a journal for the publication of your research. There are several criteria that should be considered in accurately selecting a journal for manuscript submission. Number one criteria: match between the subject of your article and the journal's aim and scope. So the most common yet avoidable reason for journal rejection is mismatch between the manuscript and the journal aims and scope. First, determine whether the subject matters of your article matches that of your target journal. Consider the sort of research that the journal focuses on. Is it theoretical or applied? There is a tip what you have to do before this criteria: read through the journal's aim and scope and then go through the article and abstract of the paper in recently published issues of the journal. This will help you narrow down the topics of the journal is interested in. Criteria number two: what is the readership and target audience? If your paper is highly specialized or technical, you will do better to publish in a journal with a small but very specific target audience. Reaching the right readership can sometimes be more important than reaching a wide readership. There is also a tip: browse through the journal issues and check the countries of the author's institutional affiliations. For an East Asian author, chances of publications are likely to be higher with journals with diversified authorship rather than with one whose authorships are largely or solely from us. Is the journal highly visible? Once your paper is published, it should be easy to find by others researchers. Journal visibility plays an important role in this regard. In the journal available online, publishing in journals that are only circulated in a print can seriously limit the number of people coming across or reading your work. So there is also a tip: do a quick keyword search in your favorite database. Does the journal show up at the top of the research results? What is the CV value of your publication? Some authors put a premium on your journal prestige. Here are some factors to consider. Editorial board members. Prestigious journals usually have eminent researchers as members of their editorial board. Visit the journal website to check the names on the editorial board. Are the board members well known in your field of study? Journal sponsorship: is the journal owned or sponsored by the prestigious society in your field? What is the journal's impact factor? Don't just look at the actual impact factor, since impact factor values vary by field. Consider the impact factor related to those of similar journals within your field. So what are the rule of thumb? As the prestigious journals have a rejections rate around 90%, while the average journal rejections rate is around 50%, but rejection rate can be misleading. For example, many authors submit to the lower tiered journals thinking that they will have a better chance of publications. But with the increased number of the submission, these journals end up rejecting more papers, increasing their rejections rate. So what is the journal's turnaround time? How many issues does the journal publish in a year? A monthly journal is much more likely to review your articles quickly compared with the journal that only publishes once in a year. Some journals list the date submitted and the date accepted. Comparing these dates will give an approximate idea of the turnaround time. So there is also journals outline submission systems are likely have a faster turnaround time than journals that ask you to mail your manuscript. Ask your colleagues about their experience at specific journals. This will give you an insider knowledge about workings of the individual journals because that is their personal experience and that is the word of mouth which reach faster than anything. So these are the checklist, a journal for publications you should ensure. Does the subject of your article match the journal subject focus? Does the journal accept the article type you intend to submit? Is the journal read by your target audience? Does the journal have an online edition? Is the journal impact factor is line with your requirements? Is the journal regarded as a prestigious one in its field by colleagues and peers? What is the turnaround time for articles submitted to the journal? How many times a year is the journal published? What are the publications charges? Means the APC. Is the length of the structure of your manuscript acceptable to the journal? Now there is the journal's instructions. Read the instructions to authors before starting to prepare your paper. Regard them while preparing your paper and check them again before submitting your paper. Look at some recent issues of the journals. Doing so can help you gear your paper to the journal as well. And one more thing I want to add here that you have to cite 3 to 4 papers of that journal in which you are going to submit your paper. Some questions the instructions may answer. What categories of article does the journal publish? What is the maximum length of the article? What is the maximum length of the abstract? Means there is the word count for each section and you have to strictly follow before writing paper. Does the journal have a template for the articles? If so, how can it be accessed? What sections should the article include? What are the guidelines for each? How many figures and tables are allowed and in what format? What are the requirements for them? In what format should reference appear? Is the maximum number of references? Means there is also a limitation of the references as well. In what electronic format should the paper be prepared? Means PDF, Word, and so on. Now, submitting the paper, there are a traditional method. You have to submit your paper by email. Second is electronic submission. Third is inclusion of a cover letter, conventional or electronic. Means there is the both things you have to do. Means to electronically submitted your paper and also by email as well. Completion of the required forms. After your paper is submitted, I already discussed that there will be initial screening by the journal for the appropriateness of the subject matter, for compliance with instructions, for overall quality sometime. After that, the peer reviewer phase will be started. Evaluation by experts in the field. Purpose to help the editor decide whether to publish the paper, to help the authors improve the paper, whether or not the journal accept it. Understanding the decision process. Based on the peer reviewers' advice, the editor's own evaluation, the amount of space in the journal, other factors, options, means acceptance without revisions. It is very rare case. Means I don't think so any paper go through without reviewers and they will accept your paper. It will happen
specifically in introductory journals. Acceptance with minor revisions. Revise your major changes usually with additional requirements required. Editorial usually sends the revised manuscript back to one of more of the original reviewers. Means once the you resubmit your paper again, they will send to the reviewers that the author have combined all the revisions or not. Reject with encouragement to resubmit after extensive revisions and addition and new experimental data to address the flaw issue in the original manuscript. Reject, submit to another journal. Many times authors ask from me that we did so many revisions and after that again we got the rejection. So in that case, you can also claim that why your paper is rejected. Sorry for the disturbance because I have parrots at my home. Okay, so you can also ask from the editor that why your paper is rejected. Sometimes they will give you a told you the reasons, or sometimes they said that again the quality of the paper is not up to the mark. So revising a paper when you got the rejection, there are two options you have. Revise your paper according to the suggestions and resubmit it to another journal. So the goal is to improve the paper and get it accepted for publication. So revise and resubmit promptly. Include a letter saying that revisions were made. If you received a list of requested revisions, address each in the letter. If you disagree with the requested revisions, explain why in your letter. Try to find a different way to solve the problem the editor or reviewer identified. Number F, answering the queries. Queries questions from the manuscript editor. Some topics of the queries are inconsistencies, missing information, ambiguities, others. Advise respond promptly, politely, and completely yet concisely. Do not write huge paragraphs which bothers the reviewers or editors. Be specific in your answers, please. So the reviewing proofs are very important as well. After acceptance, authors are sent proofs of their manuscript, but only changes to the title, author list, spelling, grammar, formatting, or specific errors will be permitted. All corrections must be approved by the publishing teams. When all editorial issues are resolved, your paper will be formally accepted for the publications. Means you have to only changes in these sections. You cannot change the theory of the paper, authors, or maybe the hypothesis. Okay, you just need to prove the mistakes which are highlighted in your paper. So the final step, first celebrate publication of your paper. If your paper is accepted and published, then some journals publish the paper online as a PDF file or final manuscript that was accepted for publications days to week. Our paper got 1.5 years to publish after acceptance as well. So what you have to do and what you have to avoid when submitting a paper, which is already so many times I have discussed in my presentation, but again I am summing up all these things together. Do look into whether the journal has a page charges or a submission fees or fees for colors, illustrations, or photos, or reprint charges. To prepare a cover letter for your paper, including the name of the manuscript, the name of the authors, academic degrees, positions, affiliations, the address, telephone numbers, email addresses. Don't interpret the editor's decision letter too literally. Usually there are qualifiers in the decision letters, like we can only accept your paper after major revisions, or your paper is not acceptable in the current form. Should you choose to revise your paper, there are generally statements that are leaving the door open for you to revise reboot, and resubmit. So what is an impact factor? A journal's impact factor is an annual measures of the extent to which articles in that journal are cited. ISI journals and impact factors. The Institute for Scientific Information was founded by the Arjun Garfield in 1960. It was acquired by Thomas Scientific and Healthcare in 1992, become known as Thomas ISI. ISI publishes the annual journal citation reports, that is JCR, which lists the impact factor for the journals. A list of over 40,000 journals is maintained by the ISI. Now, why you have to submit your paper in ISI journals if published? Better visibility, they have higher credibility, good incentives, which I have already discussed in my previous slides. If rejected, valuable experience with free useful reviews. In this way, you can improve your paper if you got the revisions. If it's not, that's rejected. If your paper is of high quality but submitted to a non-ISI journal, you have wasted a rare chance to improve your paper. So what makes a paper publishable in a ISI journals? Number one, the title. It should be new, innovative, and interesting. The relevant literature, why this research is important and what is the missing information. Presents new knowledge, novelty, your contribution, methodology clearly explained, professional presentation and followed guidelines to authors, fall under fields prescribed by the journal, and that has a good English that is concise and clear. So thank you so much. It is all about my today's presentation. The floor is open for the question answer. If you have any questions, you can ask.
So it was a great session, ma'am. So now we'll open the floor for question and answers. So please, you can draft all your questions in the message box. And if you want to ask also, you can just unmute yourself, speak your name, and then you can start. Dear participants, I would like to repeat that the floor for question and answers is open. If you want to ask any question related to today's session from ma'am, you are free to ask.
I believe all the participants they have well understood all the pointers and they are not able to raise any questions. So
Shall I wrap up the session, sir, then?
if you are having any questions, you can ask it. Are having any questions?
No, ma'am was quite clear with all the notes and everything. I have quite understand the PPT. I would like to repeat again for the participants. If you have any questions, now is the right time before wrapping up the session.
So I would like to ask for some discussion that sometimes choosing methodology. For example, we have chosen regression or SLR based on the literature. But sometimes, our methodology are unable to justify uh, our, results. So as there is already ample literature we are supporting, we have from the literature, we have chosen the proxy paper. On that based of the proxy papers, we are using this type of methodology, whether regression, multiple regression, or panel data, whatever. But sometimes, as our study goes on, it makes a question mark that why you have chosen that particular model and what is the accuracy. Just like we are talking about reliability and validity, normality and all, they are coming into the existence. But still, it it looks that our study is having more scope for other methodologies. So if we can, share some insights on that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Malik. This is a very good question. I already discussed this thing in my slides that this is a very common problem for authors to select any kind of a methodology, and they are always confused that this journal is accepting the qualitative paper, so that's why they are, assuming that my research title is related to the quantitative approach. But it's not like that. You have to roadmap. First of all, I already discussed that what you have to do. Then you have to read all the literature, all the different papers, different journals papers, that how this study relate to the qualitative paper or quantitative paper, and what techniques the other uh, you know authors have selected, and what is the reason behind it. You just not need to select any one particular paper and start writing your paper according to that methodology. If you are you have identified gap from that particular paper, you have to at least read 10 to 15 papers which matches with your title and with matches with your hypothesis that these authors already selected this methodology, so it will create a support. Okay, you need support from the literature, from different scholarly published papers, that why they have chosen this methodology and what is the reason behind choosing this methodology. So that is very good approach. And the second thing is, if again you got the arguments that no, you have to see the qualitative approach of this paper as well, so I suggest that the authors must, go for the mixed methodology, which is very commonly authors are doing. So it will also support greatly your contribution in your paper, that why there is the numerical data and how much the quality of the relevant study shows the results. So this is how you can select any kind of a methodology in your paper and represent with the support of the different scholars published papers and literature.
Oh, I am having one more question. So that is related to, let's suppose, we have run a model and we are trying to examine, hypothesis testing. But unfortunately, all the hypotheses turned insignificant or they are negatively related. But what we come from the literature that, let us suppose, variable A and B are significantly explaining each other. But when we have tried to make an experiment, so our experiment failed and most of the results became negative. But as per the literature, we have taken the positive trend, we have supported the literature, but result altogether make a big difference. They are negatively related, they are quite insignificant. So at that time, what is your, inputs that how we can deal that type of a paper?
Okay. So basically, I think that is your real contribution. Means four people are saying that these hypotheses are significant. So there are so many reasons, that how much sample they have taken, in what country or region or company they collected the data, and what are the technologies over there, and how the atmosphere supported those hypotheses. These all things together have impact. For example, I done my study in Pakistan, so there are so many infrastructural differences than the abroad countries, or many institutional differences to than the abroad countries. If the same study is happened in the America or India, so the results will be changed. So how you will support your study if you got all your hypothesis rejected? You can simply contrast your hypothesis, that this study shows there is the significance. Why? Because of the difference in the region. Why? Because there is the difference in the mental state of the people. consumer behaviors or any kind of things which are related or different with the two regions. So you can identify those factors. Because of that factors, your results got rejected, or maybe, and that will be the limitation of your study, and that will be the future direction for other researchers to identify that results in their particular area. Maybe some of them will be accepted and some of them will be rejected. So I think this is your true results and true contribution if you got the real results in your study. So you have to support those results according to this justification.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your insight. It really, I really appreciate and it has added the, knowledge.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
So, as we draw today's session to a close, it is my privilege on behalf
uh,
of.
uh, One second, one second. There is
Yes,
one
sir.
question from a participant. Sorry for inconvenience.
No, no problem, sir. I'll just read out the question for
So,
ma'am. It's in the chat box, I
yes,
guess.
yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am, should I read it for you? Are you able to see the chat
Gigi,
box?
please,
Yeah,
you read. You read.
yeah.
Okay.
Professor
So,
Sanjay is also there. If he can unmute, he can ask it directly.
Mr. Sanjay, if you want to unmute and ask the
So,
question from
meanwhile,
ma'am, you
I
can do it
request
right now.
Madam to, close this, presentation so that we will also, be ready for group photo also.
Sure, sir.
So, meanwhile,
Mr.
you
Sanjay,
set off
are you
sharing. Yeah,
there?
yeah. You have to unmute, sir.
Dr. Sanjay, you have to unmute
Yeah,
yourself. You can
yeah,
ask
yeah.
your question, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm here. Actually, ma'am, I wanted to know how can we develop a kind of academic argument? Is it ethical principles is applicable there also for future studies? If
Yes,
suppose
of
I'm
course.
making an academic argument for any study positively on the conclusion part, whether ethical principles are applicable over there.
Yes, sir. Bilkul. There are ethical considerations you have to, mention in your paper, and so many journals ask for ethical considerations as well. Means there is no any conflict of interest. Your data can be easily available, and there is no harm to any animals or human was done during collection of the data. So there is the ethical consideration.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sanjay. Any more questions do we have, or should we wrap up the session? Anyone, if you have any question from ma'am, you're free to ask. Otherwise, we'll just wrap up the session in a minute.
Shivangi, you can go ahead. You can wrap up. Now they
Okay.
are not having any
Okay.
questions.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. So, as we draw today's session to a close, and it is my privilege on behalf of JNK Economic Association, the Global South Research Foundation, and all our collaborating institutional partners to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Erum ma'am. Dr. Sheikh, we are profoundly grateful that you took time from your busy schedule to join us today and share your invaluable expertise. Your session was nothing short of illuminating, an outstanding session, I would say. You explained every concept with remarkable clarity and enthusiasm, making the session both informative and engaging for all of us.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for such an inspiring and thought provoking presentation. It was a wonderful learning experience from you, ma'am.
Thank you so
So, on
much.
behalf, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So, on behalf of the entire organizing committee, our co host, and all the participants who have benefited immensely from your wisdom, I extend our sincerest gratitude to the guest of our day. And we hope to stay connected with you for future academic collaborations. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Inshallah.
once again. And I would like to especially thanks Dr. Firdaus for giving me this opportunity to connect with other research scholars and ma'am, and I could grab some knowledge. So over to you, sir. We can go for the group photo now.
Yeah, so meanwhile, I will be waiting for other participants if they are able to, on the camera. So
Okay,
I would
requesting
like to
everyone, please
share
switch on
my
your cameras.
I would like to share my, sincere gratitude to our resource person, Dr. Erum, and our moderator, Dr. Shivangi, for accepting at a very short notice our invitation and for your deliberations from the beginning that how we have to, set out the research and then showcasing your research that how you have done. And it was a very lengthy and detailed session, I can say. So I am sharing my, sincere gratitude on behalf of all collaborating institutions, started from Jammu and Kashmir Economic Association, SSHI, Global Research Firm, Crescent University, School of Business, Rachna University, Vocational College, Delhi University. So we are very thankful, as rightly said by Dr. Shivangi, that we are looking for more future collaborations and opportunities. I am thanking, so I will set up the recording now.